nothing's better than finding out that your favorite Disney characters share the same family tree. With this in mind, Disney planted Easter eggs in every single one of their movies. Watch until the end to find out which Disney character is Jane's great-grandmother. First time at the things? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a big thumbs up. So, are you ready to find out which Disney characters share the same DNA?
Healthy baby girl. A princess was born with beautiful golden hair.
Ariel and Hercules. It's hard to believe that Ariel could be related to any member of the Disney family because, well, she's a mermaid for crying out loud.
I just don't see things the way he does. I don't see how a world that makes such wonderful things could be bad.
Regardless of this, it looks like the Little Mermaid's got a lot more to her family tree than meets the eye. Whether Disney planned for Ariel and Hercules to be cousins is up for debate, but we can't deny their heritage given the facts. Are you up to date with your Greek mythology? Well, we weren't either until we got our hands on this tidbit of information. As many of you know, Hercules is the son of the almighty Zeus, and Zeus has more than a few siblings to account for. Well, it looks like one of them is none other than Triton, who happens to be Ariel's father. Both Triton and Zeus are the sons of Poseidon, making Ariel and Hercules first cousins, where one cousin was born high up in the sky, the other was born in the deepest corners of the sea. This makes them polar opposites. But that doesn't mean that they can't find common ground. After all, they both ended up falling in love with humans and living amongst them on the mainland. Elsa, Anna, and Rapunzel. When you think about it, it makes total sense that Disney would want to create a universe that welcomes each and every one of their characters. So it's not too surprising to find out that some royal families share common members. In 2010, we fell in love with the sweet and innocent Rapunzel.
And only then will I return your satchel to you. That is my deal.
And watched with awe as she bravely chased after her dreams. After gaining her life back and falling in love with Eugene, the two lovebugs were invited to a special coronation ceremony. So, wanting to meet her cousins for the first time, Rapunzel sailed to Arendelle, with Eugene at her side. While 3 years might have passed before Rapunzel went to Arendelle, she seemed more than happy to congratulate Elsa on her coronation. Anna and Elsa are first cousins with Rapunzel, and they're more alike than you would believe. This is especially true when you take Elsa and Rapunzel into consideration. Both these cousins are blonde and have magical powers. On top of that, they both know what it feels like to be locked away for years at a time. Are you surprised to find out that these princesses are part of the same royal family? Well, if you are, make sure to strap on your seatbelt because this is the least big surprise that's coming your way. Ariel and the Unnamed Mermaid. There's a lot about Ariel that we don't know, and thankfully Disney saw fit to give us the inside scoop by releasing The Little Mermaid: Ariel's Beginning. In this film, we finally get the answer to one long-lost question. Who is Ariel's mother?
Our song.
Our song.
Queen Athena was a kind and just ruler. However, her life came to an abrupt end when pirates ransacked the sandy shores of the Mermaid Lagoon. While there's no doubt in our mind that this version of Queen Athena is strong and true, we believe that there's another version of her out there. Do you remember seeing mermaids in Peter Pan? Well, so do we. And after examining the scene a little more, we can't help but notice a resemblance between Ariel and a certain red-headed mermaid. While Disney has yet to confirm this theory, it isn't unlike them to hide Easter eggs in their movies and then refuse to comment on their existence. Disney's Peter Pan came out in 1953, and The Little Mermaid followed 36 years later. While this timeline would prevent Queen Athena from being her young and fertile self, there's one factor to consider. You don't age when you're Neverland. So, technically, the unnamed mermaid could have lived in Neverland for decades before choosing to marry King Triton. Emily and Andy. Toy Story might be considered as a Pixar movie, but in the end, it was released by Walt Disney Pictures. So we've decided to include this film on our list, because frankly, this information is too juicy to miss. We all know who Andy is. He loves his toys, respects his mom, and never forgets about his friends.
Laser at my badge! What do you know will kill you? Just do it!
But how much do we know about his mother? Andy's mom goes by the name of Miss Davis. which makes us think that Disney purposely withheld her first name. This sneaky act might have been overlooked for a long time, but the truth is about to come to life. Andy's mom made it clear that Woody has been in her family for decades, which makes us think that she used to play with him when she was a kid. In Toy Story 2, we got to take a look at Jessie's backstory, which placed her under the care of a little girl named Emily. During this scene, we see Jessie sitting on a bed with a human-sized replica of her cowgirl hat perched next to her. When you take a closer look, you'll see that this hat is the same one that Andy wears throughout the Toy Story movies. So basically, this is all the proof we need to put 2 and 2 together. So, in other words, Andy and Emily are mother and son, and she eventually passes down all her antique toys to him. Elsa, Anna, and Tarzan. Every Disney movie starts with a significant loss, which isn't always the easiest thing to handle. For this reason, many of us have stricken Bambi from the collection, seeing as it's impossible to get past the first 10 minutes of the film. Although movies like Frozen also begin with a freak accident, their tone makes it easier to get hooked from the get-go. As many of you know, Elsa and Anna lost both of their parents when they were young girls. Their mom and dad sailed off to sea but never reached their destination, nor did they ever return to Arendelle. So, in other words, they were proclaimed as goners and never seen or heard from again. Well, it turns out that King Agnar and Queen Iduna didn't sink along with their ship. Instead, they wound up on a deserted island where they gave birth to their son Tarzan. After being attacked by a leopard, Tarzan's parents were forced to leave this world and let their infant fend for himself. Luckily, a nurturing gorilla found the young bundle of joy and raised him as her own. Despite never knowing about his family, Tarzan is indeed a prince. While we'd love to see Elsa, Anna, and Tarzan reunite, we don't see how this would be possible. But hey, who knows what the future holds? Snow White and the Queen. We all know who Snow White is. She's a lovely 14-year-old girl with skin as white as snow.
Oh, how silly of me. I'm Snow White.
This Disney character first got attention in 1937 when the film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out. While Disney reinvented the fairy tale to cater to their audience, the original Snow White story had some significant differences. For starters, the evil queen and Snow White are actually related by blood. While Disney made it look as though the evil queen was Snow White's stepmom, she was initially her birth mother. In the Grimm's fairy tale, the queen realizes that her daughter is becoming more beautiful than she ever was, which causes her to hire an assassin to murder her only child. Despite her many attempts to become the fairest of them all, the queen is never able to obtain this title again. While many of us were led to believe that Snow White's mother passed away when she was young, it seems like Mother Dearest had been watching over her all along. Moana and Taffy Tea. It may be hard to believe that Moana and Taffy Tea share the same blood, and this is because Taffy Tea is more of an island than anything. This goddess has the power to create life, which would make every single human in the Moana film her child. After all, without her magic, the world would solely be populated by oceans. After creating millions of islands, Taffy Tea was finally able to rest. Sadly, it didn't take long for selfish people to attempt to steal her heart. After being robbed of her love and innocence, Taffy Tea transformed into Te Ka, a fire-breathing lava monster who spreads disease into the oceans. Knowing that her heart needed to be restored, the ocean elected a baby named Moana with the task.
Sail across the sea and restore the heart of Taffy Tea.
So, why would the sea do such a thing? Well, we believe that it's because Moana is a descendant of Taffy Tea, and that only a kindred spirit could return her heart without getting corrupted along the way. While this theory may seem absurd, there's a reason why Moana and Taffy Tea look like the same person, and it's because they are. In a way, Maui's actions caused Moana's heart to get stolen as well, seeing as they prevented her from sailing like her ancestors once did. While Disney has yet to confirm this fan theory, the uncanny resemblance between these two characters speaks for itself. Rapunzel and Snow White. Rapunzel and Snow White might be very different people, but they happen to share the same stepmother. While this doesn't make them blood related, it ties them together in more ways than one. If you do believe that the evil queen and Mother Gothel are one and the same, this would make the young princesses stepsisters. And last time we checked, adoptive families don't need DNA to make them legitimate. After failing to become the fairest of them all, the evil queen began to age, as any regular person would. However, this was unacceptable. Much like the evil queen, Mother Gothel is obsessed with beauty and youth. So much so that she harvested a unique flower that could restore her youthful face. After finding out that her magic flowers had been stolen and consumed, Mother Gothel kidnapped baby Rapunzel and plotted to use her powers for the rest of her life. Her evil plans came to an end when Eugene cut off Rapunzel's hair, therefore breaking the spell. Only then do we see Mother Gothel begin to take her true form, which comes in the shape of an old, wicked witch. At this point, the resemblance between the evil queen and Mother Gothel becomes uncanny, making us believe that they're one in the same. So, although Snow White and Rapunzel have never met, they were raised by the same evil being, making them unfortunate stepsisters, Prince Erik and Prince Philip. All Princess Ariel ever wanted was to follow her heart, which is why she embarked on such an epic journey. After falling in love with Prince Erik from afar, she chose to strike a deal with Ursula the Sea Witch.
What I want from you is your voice.
My voice?
After exchanging her voice for a pair of legs, Ariel did everything she could to win over her prince's affection. On their first night together, Prince Erik invited Ariel over for supper, and the couple dined in a great hall. While there seems to be nothing out of the ordinary with this scene, some fans took a more in-depth look and noticed something of great significance. On the wall of the Great Hall is a portrait of a brown-haired man and a golden-haired woman. Some fans believe this couple to be none other than Princess Aurora and Prince Philip. So why would Prince Erik have this portrait on display if he wasn't indeed related to the couple? While there's no way of knowing whether Erik is related to Aurora or Philip, we believe that he is a blood relative of one of the two. While this theory is a little far-fetched, it's still very possible. After all, Disney loves tying its universes together. Jane and Belle. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. So, who is Jane's great-grandmother? Well, it's Princess Belle, of course. As many of you know, Disney is notorious for placing Easter eggs in their movies. And if there's one that nearly everyone noticed, it's that the Beauty and the Beast teacup collection can be found in Tarzan. So, to get you on board with this theory, allow us to point out the obvious. For starters, both Jane and Belle have similar features, and they are both wearing a yellow dress. Secondly, they both fall in love with a man who is more beast than human. Sure, Belle might be French and Jane might be English, but this tidbit could easily be blamed on Belle's children relocating to England during the French Revolution. With this in mind, it would make total sense for Jane to own the Beast's teacup collection. After all, it was probably passed down to her from generation to generation. You know what else was passed down to Jane? Her great-grandmother's love of books. So, before you head out, why don't you tell us which family Disney you love the most? Make sure to comment down below. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on The Things.